It's all about attitude. Attitude is where everything starts. You have a bad attitude, you're probably going to feel bad and not do very well. You have a good attitude, it's amazing what that opens up. And Jesus is always concerned with attitude. So I'm going to do a recap real quickly of these scriptures. The first one, here's the attitude. Why, God? Why have you abandoned me? Why is this happening in my life? Lord, why have you left me? Total victim. Total victim. Now, we all do that sometimes. Some people live their whole life that way. And it's pretty distressing because that victim life just drags you down and holds you down, and it doesn't produce much fruit. So halfway through, Lord says, I'm going to give you a vision and clean this act up. Get rid of it. Enough. And that's really the history of Israel. Complaining, and God intervenes and kind of guides them to a better place. So very appropriately, the response to that reading, it's always supposed to be the responsorial psalm to the reading, was, if today you hear his voice, harden not your hearts. Now, it's not limited to hear his voice, something, a voice inside, or hearing the scriptures. At the last Mass, I'm sitting in my chair, and, well, they're better off now. Poor Bill's got that light all over him, but the ladies did before. I was sitting in my chair, and that window up there, the light from that morning light was hitting me. I love the windows of this church. Love them, especially these big cut windows. But all of them, they're all different. And when the light hit me, I immediately thought of the people who will have to suffer the next Mass. And see, Bill's looking like this because that light's right all over him. But that's the light of God. That's the light of Christ. And we should be hearing God's voice in the light and in the birds and in the bees and the delicious coffee I had this morning, in one another, in this music, in our silences, in this whole experience. It's voice after voice. If you hear his voice, don't harden your hearts. Listen. Open up. And you should be saying, God, get in here in my life. Come on in. I'm ready for you. We don't sit there and just wait around. We seek the Lord, says Scriptures. Seek the Lord, and you will find him. Then the second reading, Paul just lands it again. He says, you know, I consecrated you, I lay hands on you and poured the Spirit all over you. So would you fan the flames of faith? Fan them, get it burning. How many people have been ordained to service and I don't know, I'm not worthy, I can't do it. Get in there and do something. And every single one of you in this church has been baptized in the Holy Spirit. The priest or deacon put oil on your forehead and on your chest or your breast and oil on your head. You're an anointed son and daughter of God. So we have to say something, do something, get up and live our faith, fan the flames. Don't just be there. So it all comes together really in a powerful way in the gospel. So I'm going to first kind of sum it up. Now, we're missing a part that's pretty key to the scripture today. Right before the apostles asked the question in the scriptures, there's a little paragraph before that says this, that Jesus advises the disciples, this large group of disciples. He says to them, if somebody should offend you 7 times, there's that number. What does 7 mean? Completion, perfection. Now, you should have all answered that, so I'm going to have you practice, okay? Just repeat after me. 7 means completion, perfection. 7 means completion and perfection. Never forget it. What does 7 mean? Anytime it's used in the Bible, that's what it means. So Jesus says, if somebody should offend you 7 times, 7, that means again and again and again and again and again. If he or she should ask you for forgiveness, you must forgive them. Really? 7 times? 700 times? 7,000 times? He's exaggerating to make the point. We've got to discover in us a spirit of forgiveness. Because there's only 2 choices. You forgive, doesn't mean you don't hold them accountable. It doesn't mean that they have to make restitution. But it means you forgive. In other words, you You will remember with forgiveness rather than remembering with anger and hatred, because that just kills you. And Jesus knew that. So he said, you have to forgive and forgive and forgive. Well, if you're finding it a hard statement, join the crowd. The apostles thought it was too. So he said this to all the disciples, including the apostles, but some apostles over here said, Lord, oh God, increase our faith. You're asking too much. Increase our faith. And his response, if your faith was the size of a tiny mustard seed, you could tell that mulberry tree over there, jump in the ocean, and it would obey you. Exaggeration. He's making the point. The point is that with faith and open to the possibility of faith, things can grow in incredible ways. Incredible ways. When I was a young priest, I went to all the workshops and everything, and there was a workshop on youth ministry. And the program said a good youth program has 3 aspects, and they keep it in balance. Even time-wise, you do about a third. A third of the time is prayer. A third of the time is fellowship, having fun together. And a third of the time is service. And they said the service is the most important part, because the service will put into action the prayer and the fellowship, and it will bring blessing to the prayer and fellowship. And I found it to be absolutely true, even especially with youth. You get youth doing a good action, a good service, they turn on. They just pump it out. They love it. We've got a group, the St. Vincent de Paul Society, and some of the Knights of Columbus. They make sandwiches once a month, is it? Once a month? First Friday week? And is it because they love making sandwiches? I doubt it. But they're making them for the poor. And they come together, the same people, again and again and again and again. Is there a big dropout rate? I don't think so. They love doing it. They're serving. And Jesus knew that service does something to your spirit. It opens it up. So he tells this little parable or story. Again, always exaggeration, because these parables, they're meant to turn you inside out, upside down, ask questions and be bothered and be perplexed and be excited all at the same time. So he says, so you got this house, this mansion, whatever, you got all these servants, and they've been out all day working in the field, all day tending the sheep. They smell, they're tired, and when they come in, would you say to them, master of the house or mistress of the house, oh, you sit down and I'll serve you something to eat? I don't think so. Jesus says you'll say, I'm hungry, feed me. I'm thirsty, give me something to drink. And when I'm finished and I'm full, then you can sit down and eat and drink. And do you think that they'll be bothered by that? They'll say, that's our job. So that's what we're here for. We're here to serve. A lot of my priest friends were watching the Downton Abbey series, and I resisted. I don't know, I just resisted. So what is it, 7 seasons that passed? It's over now? Whatever, I think it's 7 seasons, 7. And so I decided, and the movie came out, I haven't seen it, but I said, I'm going to watch it, because I like English movies. The English are, I love the way they speak. Yes, of course you know. They can say one word that just delights me. Somebody will say, is it true that blah, 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 and you should do this? And they go, really? Really? And it's the best word of the whole movie. Really? I just love the way they speak. I love their parliament, the way they scream and yell at each other and silence, silence. They're just amazing. And nobody is more snooty than someone from England. Sorry, but it's true. Nobody. They just, the way they say things. And Downton Abbey is no exception. The servants in Downton Abbey, they have pride in their service. Oh, absolutely. But do they all want to be there and love serving? No. Some of them have been there for 3 generations. Their grandma did it, their mama did it, and now they're doing it, and that's how they're going to live. And so they talk behind the master's back. They're always criticizing. They're making each other fail so they can get a better position. They're conniving. They're snakes, but they are always proper in front of the Mr. and the Mrs. Yes, of course. Yes, sir. We're here to serve. And they know their place. They're there to serve. And Jesus says, that's how it should be with us. When we've done all that's expected of us in the gospel, we should just say, we're here to serve. That's who we are. We're servants of the Lord. It requires us, though, that we love the Lord. Requires us that we love the Lord. It requires of us that we believe in the Lord's words and want to do them. The place where this intersects for me or has in my life, when we were in the seminary, we were asked to go to all kinds of groups and meetings, self-help groups, to look at what's going on in the community so that we could know what our parishioners were going through. So we were supposed to go to some of the AA meetings or NA or SA, whatever, any of the anonymous meetings. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to one, but I remember the first one I went to, I witnessed this. You know, they all stand up, I'm Perry, so-and-so, I'm an alcoholic, whatever, they don't give their full name. But during this hour or two they have together, there's a person appointed for service, and this is the service. They give out pins to people who have been sober for a certain amount of time. So at some point in the hour, they'll get up with their pins and say, has anybody been sober for 6 months? And a few hands go up, so everybody applauds them. They go get their little 6-month pin. Anybody been sober for a year? One hand goes up, they get a year pin. And they go up, and anybody over 5 years, and somebody says, in 19 years, whoa, and they get a pin. And then when the person finishes distributing the pins, this is what they say: thanks for letting me serve. That was the highlight of my meeting. Thanks for letting me serve. I thought, what an odd thing to say. But this person was saying it's all about service. Now, why and how it comes to that in the groups is, you see, addicted people to drugs or alcohol, it's all about them all the time. And the way they live out their addiction is keeping a lot of drama alive. They keep a lot of drama alive. So somebody who uses drugs or alcohol, if you're married to somebody who's an addict, get ready. They want to fight with you all the time. If they can get you to fight, then if they go out to use their drug or alcohol, whose fault was it? They say, it's yours. You drove me to it. You're always on my case. I try to live in peace, and look, it's your fault. They love to blame it. Now, I'm making a generalization. You can fight me afterward. But it's true. The addicts, they keep this drama alive. So what they teach them is to get away from that, quit living black and white and all or nothing, and live a different life. So they have some acronyms. Like they have the acronym K period, I period, S period, S period. You know what it means? You know what it's KISS. Do you know what it means? Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. So when you make a big scene, the other addicts in that room, they know what you're doing. They say, KISS. They tell you, keep it simple, stupid. You're dramatizing so you can stay in your addiction. KISS. They have another one. They say, fake it till you make it. So I always pick on him. So he did something to offend me, okay? And I don't want to tell him I accept his apology. But in the AA group, they'll say, that's going to make you drink. You got to forgive. So he said, but I don't want to forgive, so do it anyway. Fake it till you make it. So you fake it and you come back and say, okay, I forgive you. But you forgive them. You do it enough times and the faking begins to make it. You begin to learn how to forgive. Fake it till you make it. It works. They know it works. In AA, they're really trying to bring you to a point where you think about other and not just about self. And that's what service does. Service works. Albert Schweitzer said, if you want to be truly happy, serve others. Service works because you get out of yourself and you give to another. And then some things start to happen inside. In service, but it has to be real service. Because you could be a waiter and you serve all day long and you go like this. What do you want? That ain't service. You bring the plate here. That ain't service. Service is an interior attitude, not just an action. It's a way of being inside. And when you truly serve, when I truly serve, what we discover is compassion. We discover love. We discover other. We do what the gospel says, we die to self. We let go of self. We give self to other, and something changes in the spirit. This is not the only time Jesus speaks about it, but this is a great gospel. He's really saying, if you want to be happy, serve others. If you want to discover compassion and love and life, serve others. There was a woman in my last parish. The church was huge. It was 3 times longer than this. It held 1,200 people. There were 8 masses on Sunday and 2 on Saturday night. It was a long weekend, always. And some of the masses, people were along the wall and out the doors, and it was just crowded. So, of course, people came. We've forgotten etiquette, so people come in chewing gum, just like a cow. And then at some point they feel guilty, maybe because they're going to go to communion, so they take this gum water and stick it under the pew. So this woman, every Monday morning, would go around and take the gum off the pews. And I didn't know what she was doing. So one Monday morning, I said, every Monday I see you do this. What are you doing? She says, oh, I'm collecting the old gum, Father. And I thought to myself, I hope you're not going to reuse it. But I said, well, why? And she said, well, one day I came into church to pray, and I was in one of my favorite dresses, and I sat down. When I got up to leave, it got stuck, and I tore my dress. Somebody put gum under the pew. And she said, I'm a member of this parish. This happened to me. What if a visitor came in here and a man tore his suit pants or her favorite dress? How embarrassing. So she said, I thought I could give what maybe would be an hour a week to my church, a service. I'll collect the gum. I doubt that a whole bunch of other people want to do it. She was the gum collector. But it was a service to the church because it made the church more hospitable and less offensive by tearing people's clothes, or they put their hand on the pew and they, what's that? And it's a piece of chewed gum. I said, she gets it. Look around in this church how many people there are here. 350, 400 people. What if everybody said this? God, Father Perry, I will give 1 hour of my month. I asked for somebody to do this last Mass and they didn't do it. Would somebody get on your phone right now, your calculator, and ask Siri how many hours there are in a month? Come on, give me the number. I want the number. How many hours are there in a month? 31 days put, okay? In 1 month. 731? No, it's 730 and 49 hours, okay. 730 hours? Sound right? 24? Yeah, probably. Whatever. Let's just take that number, 730 hours, okay? One of those, you have 729 hours left for yourself. What if everybody said, that would be 400 hours of service here, something. And that's just one Mass. Could you imagine a parish that thought like that? Could you imagine a parish that says, of course, there are some Protestant churches, some Catholic churches too, but very few, that say you cannot stay here unless you give this much hours of service. You cannot stay here unless you give this percentage of your check. They say that's the starting point. You're here to give, not just to take, to give. In effect, Jesus is saying that. But it's not just to collect a bunch of hours of service. It's not just a demand of people, it's to help them discover the gift of giving, the gift to self when one gives, the compassion, love, and life that happens as a result of giving. And if you don't feel like it, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. Because the day will come when you give and you truly, truly receive.